It has been 52 days since I ordered this directly from a factory in China, to the point that it has arrived here on my driveway. It's been a long wait, but in this video we are finally going to unbox it, uncrate it I suppose, and get it in from here on the driveway to here on my workbench. Well, once I've tidied it. One sec. Now for comparison, this is my current lathe, the baby lathe. This is the Warco WM180, which I've had for several years. When I first got this, I could barely maneuver it. It is something around about 60 kilos. The new one is about 4 times the weight. She is the CT MACH CTC280. She is about 250 kilos of precision machining. Wow. Unfortunately, I ran out of storage on the phone whilst I was unpacking some bits, so we'll have to go through the bits that I took out later. That's like a 4-jaw chuck and a box of gears and all sorts of fun stuff. We'll get to that in a bit. But here she is, the CTC 280 variable speed lathe. She is 1.2 meters long by about half a meter deep, about 600 high. She is 250 kilos, so a little bit unwieldy to move. I think if I just get braced right here and just really go on, yeah, a good grip, and we could probably, yeah, it's kind of awkward. All right, fine, I'll use the crane. Okay, so this is the winch gantry that we built in the last video, and as you can see, the width of this is wider than the width of that. So even though what I want, or what I need, is for this lathe length to be aligned like that, the first thing we're going to have to do is pick it up off of this base and remove the base. So first of all, as you probably would guess, if we can see in here, it's bolted down, so we need to remove the bolts. So yeah, we need to take off the bolts and then get it rigged. And what I think I'm going to do is try and rig around this chunk, because that means I don't have to worry about fouling the DRO or the lead screw. So that would be the obvious place to try it, at least first. Obviously, center of balance could be a problem, but I can move the fairly heavy carriage back and the tailstock back to try and counter that a little bit. So that's the plan. First things first, unbolt it.
Wondering what's in your crate.
It's a new lathe.
Metal and wood.
This is predominantly just metal. I mean, obviously it will do wood, but the goal is metal. To shift it that much upright.
But you say it doesn't like running over these blocks, does it?
Yeah, I will just. Part of the fun is me doing here with these little bits of wood. I was just using wood against the machine and the legs and a clamp just to stop the whole machine wanting to swing whilst we moved the whole contraption. That worked very well just to keep things nice and stable. And then when we got over to this ramp, obviously what I didn't want to try and do was bump the wheels up onto the ramp step with the weight hanging on it. So I dropped the weight to the ground, pulled the front wheels on, put the brakes on, picked up the weight, moved it up the ramp, put the put the weight down. So we just sort of did it in a few stages just to make sure we weren't trying to like jump the weight around as it had to go over the little step up onto things. So this worked very well, very controlled, and I say having an extra pair of hands here was pretty helpful, just to make sure it went smoothly. As you can see, this all went very much according to plan, just slid straight into the workshop. There's just a little delay here while I realised that the handle of my drill press table is in the way, so I took that off just to avoid annoying, unfortunate catches. And yeah, here we go, just in the door she goes. And this is that was me realising that it would have been more convenient if I had not blocked the other door in, because there's no room to get around. So at some point I have to clear away the remnants of the pallet.
Okay.
Made that a little bit
Good.
a little bit smoother than it could have.
Yeah.
And just like that, we are in. So now I need to set up this. So basically there are holes in here that I need to drill through to the workbench top, and then these heavy plates bolt to that, and then these holes are threaded, so that bolts down onto them. Alright, so that was kind of the, I want to say the easy bit, the slightly less risky bit, in that I only ever had the lathe, that much off the ground anyway. Now it all felt very stable, very sturdy, very comfortable, but obviously this bit, I need to get it so far off the ground that it will lift over the top of this. Now, I might need, in fact, to put the whole gantry up on blocks to get that much height, but I might not. So I've reset my strap to a lower point, because the limiting factor I have is essentially there's an auto cutoff here. Once the hook top hits the auto cutoff, I can't go any higher. But I think I might just have the ability to get it over. So, phase 2, we have mounted the drip tray onto the workbench and set the big plates. I ended up just screwing these down through onto the workbench top. It's basically just pin everything in place nicely. I thought all of these holes were tapped, but actually these ones, they're probably off camera, these ones had a specific recess for these bolts to point up through, so they're all set. So what we're going to do, hopefully, and this is actually something I just need to check because I've just realised it's going to be tight. This could be problematic. That is 56 centimetres. That is 59 centimetres. Okay. What's a couple of centimetres of clearance between friends? Yes, so the idea is line this bench up. It is on wheels. So lift, roll the workbench in, lower, get it all snug down, and then just roll the workbench back into place. Now I will say that the wheels on the crane are kind of a little bit bigger and easier to roll than the wheels on the workbench. But I don't really want to be wheeling the crane around with that mass all the way up here. So in fact what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly set all the wheels out and lock them. Well, there was always going to be a problem. I have mounted the drip tray and those plates the wrong way around. Okay, so we are fully resting on the workbench. Whew! That was a little bit fiddly, but not too bad. Right, what I need are the bolts. Hello.
Let's see it then. Your new mistress. Ooh. Black.
Black and on the workbench.
Awesome. You built this recently?
This is the workbench that was under this.
Ah, so that's now on like a fairly flimsy looking prop-up table.
There are two steel L brackets bolted to the wall.
Where's this going to roll to? Into this space. Okay.
So I just need to maneuver it.
Please don't maneuver it over your foot or any shenanigans with your steel toe cap slippers.
Steel toe cap slippers.
Are they actually steel toe cap?
Yeah. Yeah, actually steel toe cap. Don't go moving heavy lathes without your steel toe cap slippers on. That would be crazy.
Steel toe cap slippers were a thing.
So the back bolt on this foot plate threads in perfectly, well, pretty much perfectly to the back plate, like it was slightly stiff, but it's screwed all the way in. The front hole does not line up with the threaded hole at all. And I think I don't care. I think at this point I have 3 mounting bolts in and it's on the machine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. The next thing is to actually physically move it back to where it's going to go. Okay. Remember when I said the wheels on this slightly harder to maneuver than the wheels on this? Well, it turns out that however I ended up mounting those originally, 2 of these wheels are like pulling off, which is not good. So, what we are going to do...
Alright, so I don't think I really explained this very well in the video, so I'm just going to overlay thoughts here. Basically, the workbench I built, and I'll put a link to the build video for the workbenches down in the description. You can see at the bottom there's like an extra long bar coming outside, and that is a cantilever bar that lets you push a set of wheels down that are on like hinges, and that's really great for me to pick it up and move it around and drop it down. But at some point 2 of the wheels had become essentially bent in place, either previously or when I put this lathe on it and made it very heavy, which made it very difficult to move it around. So I just decided I'll just use the gantry to wheel it in place, which is what we see me doing here. Now, one thing that is very obvious from this angle, but wasn't obvious to me at the time, is that the hoist hook is closer to one end of this crane than the other. And so as I maneuver it in place like this, I run out of space and realise that I really should have put it on the other way around. So there's a little bit more of a faff than I intended, but we got there in the end, and it was super helpful to be able to have the crane. And I guess what this showed is that once the lathe was bolted to the workbench, the gantry was more than capable of lifting the lathe and the workbench, the whole lot in one go. No problem, didn't break a sweat.
There we go. Whew! That bit was a bit more fiddly than I intended or expected. But we're in. We're in. On solid feet, on solid standing. These work great, unsurprising really. Whew! So, in a second, we'll go through some of the stuff that this came with. Let's just quickly talk about why this lathe, why order directly from a factory in China, what led me here. As we talked about earlier, I already have the Warco WM180. So when I thought about wanting to upgrade to a bigger lathe, my initial thought was part exchange, sell the 180, upgrade, which led me to contact Warco and say, do you have a part exchange program? And they said, yes, we do. Send us some pictures of your lathe and we'll give you a quote. So, as anyone who's watching this channel for a while knows, I have modified my 180 with an electronic lead screw. The only actual real irreparable change I have made is I cut a corner off of the gear panel cover. Everything else can actually just be pulled straight back off, returned exactly to stock. I have all of the original parts, all of the original tool post. I did install a DRO on it, but I could, aside from essentially, I guess there's probably like 2 M5 tapped holes on it. So I bought that machine for £1,000 about 5, 6, 7 years ago. I can't remember exactly when. And they currently sell those machines new for £1,200. They offered me, one second. They offered me up to £375 for the trade-in price of my Warco 180, which I was planning to buy or looking at buying their 250V, which is a little bit shorter and a little bit deeper than this, but it's about 100 kilos lighter. No DRO. So yeah, they sell the 250V for about 2,500. And when I decided that 375 was not worth me parting with my 180, I went searching for what my options were. As I'm sure you're all aware, basically everyone that sells lathes in the UK just buys them from China and has the Chinese factory brand them for them. So I thought I'd go straight to the horse's mouth. Now, and actually, once you start searching Chinese lathe manufacturers, they basically all sell a version of the 180, and all those small lathes, like exactly identical, with slightly different colour schemes. But anyway, by the by, I found CT MACH. I was looking for a lathe of about this size. I wanted it to fit on my workbench. I wanted it to be somewhat plausible for me to work with it. And of all the various lathes, this one kind of hit on all of the sort of key points that I wanted. So it's variable speed, it's got obviously gear change gearbox, it comes with a DRO, or I can get the DRO optional extra, and it's about the kind of solid that I wanted. So what did this cost me? This cost me about 2,500 quid. So that included about 400-ish of that was the worldwide shipping, crating, shipped across the world on a boat, delivered to my door. It did take 52 days to get here, but for the same price as the Walko 250EV, I've got, I say it's hard, like there's lots of different things, and I'm sure someone will say that something is better or worse or whatever. And it's sort of a weird measurement to start talking about machining equipment in terms of mass, but it's a convenient kind of approximation of what kind of certainly solidity you can expect. So I've got 100 kilos, a little bit more, well, probably 120 kilos more, so almost double the weight. So that's why we're here. And now let's start getting it set up.
So, quick review of the basic features, just construction-wise. We obviously have this lever here, which is our direction selector on/off. We have the engage carriage to the lead screw and knot. It came with this, it's like one of these wedge type quick change tool posts. So that's cool because all of my existing tools for the 180 are on the same tool post type. So all of my existing tooling is going to work perfectly. I just need to obviously adjust the height differences to line up on this machine. But that was a great choice. Obviously we have our standard tail stock. I'll give you a bit of a look at the bedways. We've obviously got oil points around everywhere, as you'd expect. It's obviously covered in various grease at the moment from shipping, as is the 3-jaw chuck. The mounting on this is just a standard, again, pretty much just a bigger version of the same thing as that. Some bolts through this faceplate and it mounts to here. It would maybe be nice to have had an easier change chuck setup, but that's fine. This thing is obviously a behemoth compared to where it even is. Like, it's funny seeing chucks like this and lathes generally. The funny thing is that they all kind of have the same pieces, and a lot of them look the same in pictures and on camera. But it's just the scale of them changes. So it's kind of fun to have one up close and personal to kind of see what that difference looks like. So obviously we have a gearbox here to select all our different options. It looks like there are fundamentally 2 different gear sets that need to be set up. One selects all of like the coarse grain metric, 0.5, 1, 2, 125, 25, etc. And then another set that does all of the like very fine grained below, what's this, looks like 0.7 all the way down to 0.2. So that's interesting. At some point I might look at putting an ELS on it, but for now let's open the end and take a look inside. Right, so I've got 2 sets of keys. Okay, one's a double-sided and one's an N. So I think this is this one. Woo! So we've got a 1.1 kilowatt motor, dual V-belts driving the main shaft, and then yeah, we have a gear assembly
a gearbox assembly that can obviously shuffle back and forth a couple of different ratios. Yeah, interesting. And this looks like it's probably a Hall effect sensor that's judging the spindle speed. This is a pretty big bore. I think it's a 38mm bore. I assume this is the speed controller for the variable speed. Obviously safety cutout for having this open. But yeah, looks pretty nice. This is some kind of tensioner, I guess, for the motor mounting and the belts. So yeah, pretty standard stuff. See this very well. Depends on how far open this goes. Oh, it's pretty nifty. That's a VFD, baby. Interesting. So that's the real brain. Little VFD in the back. Very neat. And the switch in there for the safety control. Alright, so I'm just going to quickly try and take a skim cut of this chunk of steel, because of course I can't end this video without making some kind of chips. Wow. I mean, this is a serious chunk of steel, and it can just like completely get swallowed into the mouth of this thing, so that's interesting. So this is the power cross feed. Now that might just be the best surface finish I've had without even trying on a lathe. Like, that is, I mean, the end is not so much. This isn't really the ideal tool for it, I think, but without even trying, that is lovely. So that's lathe, DRO, 3-jaw chuck, and all of its features. The quick change tool post, now it's on there, but let's, also came with this box. I have not looked in this box yet, so let us do that together now. Okay, this looks like we have got there's 1, 2, so this system then, so this is the one that came on the quick change tool post. We have 3 more, so the tool post plus 4 holders was part of like the standard package, and because this is the same type of quick change tool post, or the same dimensions as my existing tooling, that means all of my existing tools are also working. So that's epic. Let me put those in here for now. Yeah, so that means I can have a whole 4 new tools on it. So obviously this is the gears for the for adjusting the gearbox. We'll put those in here for now. Very heavy, or at least it's heavy relative to its size, I expect. But this is the Another chuck key. Same, similar. And there you go. Ooh, he is a beast. By way of comparison, let's show you that this is the 4-jaw chuck for the WM180. Ugh. And that is the chuck for the CTC280. So yeah, it's a whole new ball game, baby. It's a whole new ball game. So worth saying that the lady at CT MACH was super helpful right from the beginning. I posted, I think, in their online chat thing and asked some questions about the machine. They were very prompt in responses, were extremely helpful, sent me pictures, answered all my little questions. They arranged the worldwide shipping. They, put together a quote for me for the bits I wanted. Before shipping, they sent me literally a video of this machine being tested in its setup, and showing the badge with its serial number as like proof, I guess, that it was working. It was a little bit nerve-wracking, I'm not gonna lie, sending $2,500 to a bank in Singapore, named for this company in China. I had to do that I ended up doing that through I think it's xe.com. Actually transferring internationally through xe.com saved me about £90 compared to doing the same transaction with my bank. So if you go down this route, make sure that you find a cheap way to send the money. But yeah, it's a little bit nerve-wracking. As helpful as they were, as much as they have a great website and they clearly make a lot of machines, it's sending a bit of money into the unknown. But no, they could have been nicer, could have been more helpful. They arranged the transport, they sent me the tracking. They estimated 55 days for delivery from the point that they took my order. It was 52 days, so can't fault that at all. Once it was on the boat, you don't really get any insight. Like, you see it get picked up and taken to the port, and you just get told that it's left port, and it's just a few weeks. Just a few weeks whilst it sails around the world. You don't get any other tracking. But then a couple of days ago, it hit UK port. I got the message to say that it was going to be delivered on Wednesday. So there you go. That is my adventure into buying a brand new lathe. And I'm sure you will see it feature in many upcoming projects. But for now, I think that's enough for this unboxing video. Let me know what you think. Are you tempted to buy a lathe from a Chinese factory? If you do contact CTMACH, let them know you found out from me. Just, it doesn't really do me any good. There's no deal with them or anything. But, spread the word. I was happy with their service. I am pretty happy with this machine so far. And, yeah. Thanks for watching. See you next time.